Good evening, everybody. This is the Speak Out webinar focused on entrepreneurship. We have two great guests joining us today, Brittany Adams of Purpose Planner and Kweku Ose-Bonsu from the Strange Roots Company. I am Brianna Alexander, and Danielle Hughes is also here on the line. And we are the co-founders of Detroit Speaks. Detroit Speaks is simply focused on providing resources for young people to achieve their goals, whether those be college and career goals or launching a business, entrepreneurship like we're discussing today. There's no reason why Detroiters shouldn't be able to succeed, especially when the resources are right here in our city. So we're going to let Danny kick everything off, and we're going to jump right into the webinar.
Awesome. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This means so much to us. We guarantee that this will be a transformational experience for you, whether you're already an entrepreneur looking to become an entrepreneur. We guarantee that our guest speakers will drop enough gems for you to be able to make whatever is in your mind to happen is going to happen. It's going to come to fruition. So the reason why we want to do entrepreneurship one-on-one, there are clearly, as millennials, even if you're not a millennial, whatever age group you fall under, there's been a big surge in entrepreneurs in not only our city, but beyond. Entrepreneurship is the #1 way to create wealth in America. Whether you knew that or not, I actually just came across that, but that's the #1 way to create wealth. So if you're looking to leave a legacy for your family, create generational wealth, entrepreneurship is the way to go. So what better way than to bring two successful entrepreneurs from our city to come and be guest speakers for our webinar. So we are not going to keep everyone waiting. Kweku Ose-Bonsu, he is the president and founder of the Strange Roots Box and CEO. And Brittany Adams, she is the founder of the Purpose Planner, CEO as well. Hello. We're going to let them speak and give you all just a little bit of background about them, about what they do, about their products, and then we're going to jump right into the webinar. So Brittany, you want to go first?
So first of all, thank you guys so much for having me. This is definitely an honor. I'm so thankful to be able to speak to everyone today. I am the CEO of Purpose Planner, and it's a stationery company, but it's actually kind of manifested into a dinner party series. I've done 2 so far that have sold out in the city of Detroit, and I have a 3rd one coming up this September, the 23rd. And everything between the stationery and the dinner parties revolves around purpose, around getting your girlfriends together, whoever your business besties are, and just being accountable for each other and actually going after your dreams. Your dreams, 9 times out of 10, will be aligned with what your purpose is. And so I have products that really help you as you transition or as you are actually on the journey of fulfilling your purpose. So I have notepads and planners and journals because it's so important to write things down. Scripture says, Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain. And I mean, that's just kind of what I'm all about.
Awesome. Awesome introduction. Thank you so much, Brittany. We cannot wait to hear from you. I'm so excited. And I'm going to be at the dinner party in September. So I'm glad to hear that. Kweku, if you could introduce yourself, the Strange Roots Box, like how you got this idea, a little bit more about it, where we can find you.
Sure. Well, again, my name is Kweku. Thank you guys so much for inviting me to be a part of something so great. I feel honored to have been thought of. But yeah, no. So the Strange Roots Box is essentially, it's a care package. At its bare bones, it's a care package that features items that are manufactured by small Black businesses. So, being that it's a care package, that doesn't really restrict it to a specific target market. Our target right now are parents of college students, because when it comes to care packages, that's our most widely touched base. But outside of that, we also touch on military personnel. We reach out to geriatric patients. So those are like, your grandmothers and grandfathers that just aren't doing so well health-wise, that need some care away in those nursing homes and hospice centers and things like that. And we're working this year, prayerfully, by the end of the year, to be approved to send our box to people that are incarcerated. Because I think that we as a people know more than anyone else that, you know, people that are away in prison and in jail a lot of times get forgotten about. They become a chore or a nuisance. So this is an easy way to, you know, remain present within those people's lives and make it so that when they come out, if they're coming out of prison or an incarceration situation, that they aren't completely out of touch with what's going on out here, because a lot of times that's what they face. So, you know, every single box comes with a piece of literature, so a full-size book. You get a non-perishable food item. We're starting to play around with perishable things, but that's been kind of interesting. You get a wild card item that kind of changes from month to month, and then you also get an accessory. So, you know, it kind of touches on all of the wants and needs that particularly a college student would want, but it's not, again, it's not skewed specifically toward college students. We try to keep it so that anyone that were to receive the box would appreciate it. But we make sure that it is something that would be welcomed by a college campus. So you're not going to get a lot of candles because you can't light candles in dorms. You're not going to get a lot of incense. And we're really just trying to push the idea that like Black items that are manufactured by Black-owned businesses don't necessarily have to be of Afrocentric origin. So, you know, we're really pushing the fact that like people of color create so many different things and things of value. And hey, I'll probably be reaching out to Brittany soon to get some of her products in the box. So yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. So I want to know what led you all to entrepreneurship overall. Like, what was that moment that hit you and you're like, you know what, I need to do something outside of my 9-to-5 that is benefiting other people. Obviously, both of you have great purpose for your organizations and companies. What was like that defining moment for you that was like, all right, I'm about to do this?
So for me, actually, you can thank Mary Kay for the launch of Purpose Planner. I had no idea what Mary Kay wasn't really sure when I kind of stepped into it, what I was really doing. The first lady of my church just said like, oh, you'll be so great with Mary Kay. And then all of a sudden, I'm in this Mary Kay world and I'm trying to sell products and I sucked. Like, I don't think I got one sale. I was terrible. And I used to go to all the meetings and I used to, you know, listen to the mentors that I had and like have my little checklist of stuff to do on how to sell. And I just sucked at it, which was odd because everyone has always known me for makeup and being glamorous, but it just was not working. And so before I hung up the towel, it kind of hit me like, these women are working from home. These women are traveling around the world every year. These women are millionaires and this is their own business. And it's because, you know, their 9-to-5 really is kind of like a 9 to whatever, because sometimes, you know, these women were selling products at 8 p.m. at a church function, or somebody's having a birthday party and, you know, the Mary Kay product sponsored like a little spa treatment. And I'm just like, it's so many ways they were advertising themselves and putting themselves out there. And I was really inspired. More so about the lifestyle. The lifestyle represented a lot of freedom for me. And even though it did not work out, it birthed in me, you know, a kind of like a spark to actually do my own thing. And during the time, I had a lot of time because I didn't have a job. I was not working in the advertising world yet at an agency. So I was like, let me just do some purpose planners. And it kind of birthed from there. But it was 100% inspired by my time spent in Mary Kay, which I failed at.
That's awesome. And I think a lot of times our failures are like our biggest successes, or like lead us right into our biggest successes. So that's an amazing story. Thank you, Mary Kay, because without Mary Kay, we would not have the Purpose Planner. So thank you. That's amazing. So Quay, if you can kind of tell us your story and how you led to entrepreneurship and how the Strange Roots Box came to be.
Sure. So, like Brianna, I'm a graduate of the illustrious Howard University. And while there, when you move into Howard as a freshman, they inundate you with, catalogs and all types of things of, that's really for your parents, like, oh, buy your son this. You can buy them a comforter that's branded with Howard University, or, you can, I don't know, send them a care package. And my mom bought into that. She bought me a care package that would come once a semester. And I mean, it was cool. Like, I get, the first semester it came, it had like Cheetos, a water bottle, some magazines. It just didn't really, for me, it didn't connect with me on a cultural level. So, I found that I needed something more. So, at that point, I kind of voiced that to my mom because the care packages were like $120 a piece. And I was like, Mom, like, real talk, like, this care package could save that, please. Like, either put this money in my account or let's build something together that I can really appreciate and just kind of like connects a little bit more deeply with me. So she did just that. She created her own care package. She was like, all right, I'm gonna send them some stuff from Detroit. So I was getting like Vernors and Better Made potato chips. And then she also sent me like books that were relevant to my life, that kind of resonated with me a little bit more deeply. And what I found is not only that I enjoy them, once I started getting those care packages from her, my friends were just like, yo, like, let me get some of those items out of there real quick. So I'm like, okay, bet. So, I mean, I've been one of those people where even throughout college, I was always trying to come up with different ways to serve my people. So, what ended up happening is that I was like, you know what, if I appreciate these care packages, I'm sure a lot of other people would too. So once I graduated, I ended up moving up to New York. I was there for 2 years, working in advertising and business development. And I tried to start Strange Roots then, but based on the cost of living in New York, it just wasn't happening. Like, it just wasn't happening. I was paying like $1,000 a month for rent for a 1-bedroom apartment, which was apparently a deal. But I ended up coming back to Detroit to do a coding boot camp and just like fell in love with the city again. So I stayed. I continued to sublet my apartment just in case I have a change of heart. But, that is always smart to have a little backup there. But I stayed and I'm still here. And because I was here and the cost of living was so much lower and I was so much more in tune with my city at this point, I was no longer like running away, kind of like I was back in 2009 for college. It was a perfect time to start Strange Roots. So, I was doing my thing with my 9 to 5. And then next thing I knew, I had saved up enough of like kind of a nest egg to get it off the ground. So it's primarily been myself and my business partner, Cedric, but my family helps out a lot with it. And it's just been a blessing ever since. So, yeah.
That's so good to hear. And such a good story too, about like, I think we can all attest to kind of like leaving after high school. I know I left. We just ran away from the city. When it was time for me to come back last year after I lost my job, I'm like, I'm not moving back to Detroit. Like, I'm not going back there. When I got here, I was like, I'm only going to be here 2 weeks, so no one get comfortable. And then now, like you said, just fell in love with the city again. So awesome answer. So our next question is, what were some of the biggest obstacles that you had to overcome when starting and launching your companies? And I want us to kind of dig deep in your answers, and kind of, we want to make sure that this is a transformational experience and that our attendees get the most impact out of your answers. So, just be totally transparent, totally honest, open. This is a no judgment zone. So we just really want to get some transformational answers.
Okay, yeah, I'll go. So for me, jumping into stationery was kind of a no-brainer. Like, after I prayed about it, God gave me the vision, and Habakkuk 2:2 has always been my favorite scripture. And it kind of leads back to my first lady's teaching as well, about like the power of what you say and what you write down, and just having a vision. And slowly but surely stuff started to manifest for me. And so I was like, I need other people to get on board. Like, this is real life. Like, if you envision this, if you write it down, and if you believe and have faith, whatever it can manifest, whatever your dreams are. And so I said stationery would be the perfect avenue to connect with people with this. And I was so clueless. Like, I Googled everything. I had no mentors at the time to help me. I had no family members who were like familiar with the world of stationery. So I Googled my behind off. Google is your best friend. And for me, it's a blessing that I'm gifted to be able to do like Photoshop, and then I already have a creative mind. So it wasn't hard to come up with the designs, and it wasn't hard to build my website, and it wasn't hard to do the creative stuff and do the marketing aspect of it, because I'm gifted in that area. But the challenge came when it's like, okay, how do we bring this to production? So like, you have it on your computer, like nobody's about to download a planner for $50. So how are we going to make this happen? And I don't know how I stumbled on Alibaba. It is an amazing manufacturing site that connects you with manufacturers overseas. So if you, I mean, whatever really at this point, I think that you would want to bring to fruition, you can go to Alibaba.com, type it into the search engine, and you'll get a whole list of manufacturers that you can kind of see if they want to compete as far as price wise. And I started off there. Had no idea what I was doing. Time zones were different. So I'm up at 2 a.m, emailing and chatting, and sometimes their English is not that great. So I'm just like, what? Like, I just want a planner. Like, what are you asking me? And I had to learn. My first go around with Alibaba was terrible. I did not go with the correct manufacturer. I thought the cheaper, the better. And sometimes that's not the case. And it took like maybe 2 months to get my sample. And technically it's supposed to take like maybe 5 to 7 days now that I've been in this. So just like timelines, which are so important when you're launching your business, got completely jacked up. And yeah, I eventually did get the correct manufacturer. I had the product, but for whatever reason, I was really afraid to like let everybody know I had a business. So that planner flopped. I got like, I think 2 sales. So I had to do some reevaluating. I had to go back on Alibaba and really take my time. Like, don't rush. You know, you'll get this surge of energy to just like dive right into it. And, you know, the first thing that comes along that sounds good and, you know, it fits right in your budget, you might want to hop on it. But honestly, take some time with it, you know, have some patience, pray about it, do some more research as far as like Googling the actual company and seeing what the reviews are. Read the reviews on Alibaba. Don't make the mistake that I did. And just honestly have patience. Have a timeline, but have patience and understand that, you know, hiccups happen. And that doesn't mean that that's going to stop your show or you're not going to be able to accomplish your goal of launching. But just, especially in the beginning, have patience because you're going to make mistakes.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being so transparent. Like we were saying earlier, like sometimes your failures end up being your biggest success. So thank you. And thank you for never giving up, because we would have never had the purpose planner if you got that first sample back and you like, okay, I'm done. It's just not meant for me. So I think that's a really big lesson that everyone can take from this, is just like, if you get knocked down, you just got to get up, brush your shoulders off and keep it moving. And like, you're the greatest example of that.
I want to jump in. I wrote down the fact that you said that you were afraid to tell or sell your product. What did you mean? Can you elaborate on that? Like, what was that? Like, I got this great product here, but I don't want to tell anybody about it yet. Like, were you not proud of it, or what was that like?
I was proud of it. It's just, my friends call me hypersensitive. So I was not sure how it was going to be received. And I know I had put so much time and so much effort into it. And again, this is a time where I still didn't have a job. So it's like, all right, well, this don't work out. How am I going to get some money? Like, this sample wasn't cheap, and I had to end up getting another sample. So I had to let go of the fear of really depending on what people were going to say about my product. At the end of the day, God gave me this vision. He gives me the vision for all my designs, and it's in his hands. Once I did that, that's when Purpose Planner really started taking off. So yeah, it was just the fear of what other people might think.
Awesome.
Gotcha. Quite cool. How about you?
Hey,
Tell us what was one of the biggest obstacles that you had to overcome in order to get the Strange Roots box?
So, again, Strange Roots, it's mainly stocked by manufacturers, Black manufacturers of different products. And, I think, at some point in the production of all of this, I had the realization that just because this product is marketed to and for Black people doesn't mean that they were going to automatically buy it, and that for me was kind of like a hard thing to deal with because, I'm like, yo, like, this is for y'all. Like, this is, what I mean? Like, this is essentially my ode to my people, and one of the first events we did was the college fair at Second Ebenezer. And, we did that event on purpose because we wanted feedback. And one thing that church folks will give you is some real feedback. So we were there, and some people were just like, $29.99 a month for 4 items. I don't know. Now I'm hearing this knowing that all 4 items combined are valued at like $45+ plus. So I'm just like, not enough. Okay. But then I'm like, okay, fine. There's truth in every statement. So I'm taking this feedback. And we had a survey at that event, on an iPad, just kind of passing it around as people visited the table. Of course, hoping that people would buy boxes on the spot, but even if not, just getting responses to our survey, because what was more important than sales at that time was data. So we were just trying to get as much data as possible about the product. So, a lot of people, and I mean, Second Ebenezer is a majority Black church. So, a lot of the people because they were inherently Black, they were also giving us the opinion of a Black person. So, we were just kind of like, all right, some of these people really are not banging with this product. Like, a lot of people were, but some people were just like being extremely critical. And similar to what Brittany said, like, I was extremely sensitive about it because this product is my baby. You know what I mean? So for me, it's not that I was afraid to release or anything like that, but it's almost like it's just like the city of Detroit. Like, I can talk as much junk about Detroit as I want because I'm from here, I live here, and it is what it is. As soon as somebody else that's not from Detroit talks about Detroit, it's like, hold on, wait a minute, like, you're not about to talk about my city like that. Like, I might even agree with you, but you're not about to talk about my city like that. And that's kind of how I felt about Strange Roots. Like, you're not about to come for my product like this, but you can't have that attitude because, I mean, if you're trying to sell something to someone and this product is really for everyone, then like, you have to be willing to take that criticism and utilize it, put it into action. Because a lot of times, business owners, and dare I say Black business owners, can be very prideful. And that pride will drive you to the demise of your business if you don't let it go. So, I just say, like, lose the pride, like, have pride in your product because you know that it is great. But don't be so prideful that it cuts you off from the information that people are trying to give you, because that's really all that criticism is information that people are trying to give you. You take it away from a personal level and put it in more of a business, from more of a business perspective, and I think you'll find yourself better off more times than not. So, that's essentially what I had to do, and that was essentially one of the hardest things that I had to deal with, was just kind of letting go of the personal and getting more into like, okay, how can I make this product better? Because we just launched in February, and we did that on purpose because we knew that this month coming up, August, was when we would really, really, at least that's when we were expecting to see sales like escalate quite a bit, because again, our target market is students. So, starting in February, the top of the second semester, you're kind of like, in the middle of it all, but the semester's ending, so people aren't buying new things for their students. But in August, they definitely are. So, you know, we wanted to be ahead of the game, and I think we are. We're definitely on point and ready to launch again in August. So
Awesome. I love it. And I love what you said about letting your pride go. I think that's so big. And as business owners, it's so hard sometimes because, like you said, it's your baby. So you don't let, like, I can talk about my baby, but you can't talk about my baby.
right.
It's so hard because that affects business when you can't let your pride go. And another thing I wanted to touch on, you said that you all gave out surveys when you did your first event. You know, you passed around the survey because data was most important. Can you kind of elaborate on like how important data is and like what changes you all made, if any, to the Strange Roots box based on the data you
Sure.
received?
Absolutely. So, you know, the reason I say that the data was important is because, you know, it's essentially like your target market is telling you about themselves for free. Like companies pay for this information. Companies pay researchers to go out here and find out more about their target market. And when I say they pay big bucks. So when you can get some organic feedback from like potential buyers for free, you take it. So, you know, it's really important, but also you have to take that and almost treat it like you would, like, let's say you went to a job fair or you were at like a networking event and you get all these business cards. You kind of have to take the feedback and separate it between like, what can I do now and what can I do later? You know, like what is a long-term change and what is something that, oh, maybe I should tweak this immediately so that I can make sure that this is being shown the way that I want it to be shown. And one of the pieces of feedback that we got consistently was, can I choose what comes in my box? And at that moment, and for the last 5 months, the answer has been no. Primarily because we don't have the space for the inventory right now. Like, you know, we get in the items that we need at the quantity that we need them, and we send them right out. Like, if I can show you, like, literally my inventory is this little corner in my room. And that's how I would like to keep it unless we were to get a space. But we were able to figure out over that time, like, okay, how can we offer the opportunity for our subscribers to choose? So that's something that we're doing coming up in August and September, kind of playing around with our store in that way to see, like, okay, how does this work? Because what the light bulb kind of went off for me when I started to try different subscription meal plans, like HelloFresh, Blue Apron, the little Martha Stewart one or whatever. I started to try those, and I would get the email like, hey, choose your meal. And I'm like, okay, wait. If these people can let me choose what food I want, then the people that buy my box can definitely choose what items they want, because it's not even that deep. So, you know, you have to really be able to, again, remove yourself, take the pride out of it, but also be able to scale, like, okay, this is a long-term goal, this is a short-term goal, and this is an immediate, like, change that needs to be made right now. So doing that, it just helped us. And like I said, it was free. So, you know, pass up on free.
Awesome. And it's like when you're in the startup phase, free is always your best friend.
Absolutely.
Free and cheap, because
Absolutely.
a lot of it, you know, unless you've been blessed to have investors like from jump, or most of it is coming out of your pocket. Like you're your own investor in the beginning. So the next question I wanted to ask were, I'm going to skip around a little bit. I'm gonna go back to, how are you able to balance working a 9-to-5 while being an entrepreneur? And does your job support the work that you are doing? And Brittany, if you want to start off answering that.
So, the balance, it has been a journey trying to get there, especially working in marketing. Marketing is so demanding. We're getting ready to work on like Christmas right now, working on Christmas ads and Christmas commercials. And it's just like, I always have to have my mind one place on holiday. And then I'm just getting ready to launch, you know, my items for purpose planning, which is a completely different strategy. So low key, what I've kind of maneuvered, I take a couple of hours. So sometimes I may not take a lunch. I'll do purpose planner on my lunch. So that way during the day, I'm still working on my business. I'm still answering emails. I'm still if needed be, revamping my strategy or my timeline for my products. And then I'm designing, like I'm the designer. I am the creative director for my company. And that's kind of like one of the most important aspects, since in my planner, there's so many like interactive things you can do besides just writing in the calendar and scheduling your day. So and then doing research as well. So it's not easy. I feel like I'm just kind of getting the swing of things. I will say this, when it does get super stressful, meaning to where your head is real cloudy, like you can't think at work and you can't think at home, when you have that designated time, that's when you need to step back and take a break. And I mean like a serious break. No phone, no computer, no people. Like get you a good book, take a nap, write in your journal, just literally decompress, because you're no good if you're working on empty. And that can easily happen, trying to run a business and working a 9 to 5.
I agree. Been there, so I completely understand what you're saying. And I have an echo. I don't know what's going on. Okay, completely understand what you're saying. So definitely been there. Thank you for that response. Kwaku, we want to ask you the same thing. How do you balance working a 9 to 5 and then having your business? Is it kind of like similar to what Brittany said, taking lunches to work on your business, or how do you work that out?
Oh, I really hope 9 Player is not watching. So I mean, I honestly do a lot of work at work. So it's probably, I probably abuse it a little bit. I take a lot of my mornings to do Strange Root stuff. Just because I enjoy it more than what I actually do. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of those gray areas, right? Where depending on who your employer is and so like I work in IT, so I'm already on the computer, so my employer doesn't know what I'm doing anyway. So I just I just get done what I have to get done when I can. And then I just know that when I get off at 4:30, I'm not really off. It just kind of continues. But the beautiful thing is that even when I get off, and I have to keep working, I love working on Strange Roots so much, and because I love it, it does not feel like work. So, it just, you kind of have to get in where you fit in on that. I mean, I would say some things to be careful of are one, anything that I'm not going to say this for every company, but for the most part, especially if you're like working somewhat of a desk job, whatever you're working on at work, be careful, because if your company finds out, technically they own what you've done especially if you've done it on their computers. So I would say be really careful about that. I haven't seen it happen firsthand, but I mean, it's just like, just like with those no-compete agreements or non-compete agreements rather, you can't do that. You technically can't do your personal work at work. So I would say just be careful of that. Make sure that your 9 to 5 isn't slipping because of your entrepreneurial goals. Because I mean, if that's your moneymaker, don't mess that up. But then also know when to say goodbye. It's kind of like a long distance relationship. You have to always have an end goal in mind. So are you working this 9 to 5, and it's a never ending situation? Or do you know that okay, by this date, I hope to have this amount saved up so that I can leave this job and work on my thing full time? Or is it something where it truly is feasible for you to do it part time with your 9 to 5? Just assess those types of goals with yourself, and kind of figure that out. And I think once you come to those sorts of answers, it makes things a lot easier to balance. Because I know for a while, it was just kind of crazy. I was all over the place with things. And I was doing too much at one time. And when you do that, you don't usually do anything well. So, just having that balance and understanding where your goals are and how what the time frame for those goals is will help you immensely. So that's me.
I love that you mentioned about the computer and working on stuff, and how your company could own your work if something was to happen. It's all in the fine print in that handbook that we be so quick to sign when we get a job, and we don't read over those last pages. But yeah, you definitely have to be very careful with stuff like that. I personally also have a 9-to-5 job along with Detroit Speaks and my own personal consulting, and I absolutely work at work sometimes, and it is something that I can't avoid. And one thing I will say is, I don't know, I think a few of my team members are on here, is that they are so supportive of everything that I do, and so I could not do it without them. And so I think I remember not wanting to tell anybody about Detroit Speaks at work because I was like, I don't want them to think I'm too busy, or I don't want them to think that I can't handle it all. And then I think a few of my coworkers became my friends on Facebook or something like that, and it kind of just slipped out that I had a lot going on. And it's so cool to walk around my job and see people like, hey, I read your last blog post, or, you know, this was a great project that you worked on, or whatever. And so do you guys have people at your jobs that know exactly what it is that are going on? Are they there to like support you, let you know when somebody walking past while you're working on your thing? How does that work for you? Either one of you guys can answer.
I actually met my business bestie at work. Her name is Brittany as well. She's the founder of My Brown Box, and I mean, godsend. Like, I'm like, okay, I came to this job actually to meet her because she keeps me together. She's so supportive. She's so encouraging, and she calls me out on my stuff. Like, if there is downtime, she's like, there's stuff you can be doing for Purpose Planner. And I'm like, girl, you're right, you're right. And if she sees that I'm getting too distracted, like, she just kind of helps maneuver me and get me back on focus. So she's definitely a godsend. And there's another woman at my job as well who really loves my dinner parties, and she can't wait for the next one. So yeah, and that actually does help. And it actually is like when you walking through the hallway, like, it's to the point they're not calling me Brittany. It's like, hey, Purpose Planner. And I'm like, hey,
girl. That is awesome. What about you, Quaker?
Yeah, no, so I actually met my business partner at work. His name's Cedric. And you know, I'm a really vocal person. So I'm one of those people where, like, even though I knew the risk of them being like, are you working on this at work? I was at work like, so I need all of y'all to buy a box. Like, stop playing. You know, you got brothers and sisters in college, you got kids in college, like, buy a box, stop playing. But in doing that, I actually found, so one thing that Strange Roots, and it's so funny, like, I speak about it, like, I use Strange Roots as though there's just so many people on the team, but one thing that Strange Roots prides itself on is marketing on social media. So like our images, our videos, and stuff like that. That's one thing that we really pride ourselves on. And I met like my videographer through work. You know, because I work at IT, there were other software engineers that were like, yo, whatever you need, like, I can build it for you real quick. You ain't even got to work. Just shout me out on the page. Just shout me. And I'm just like, bet. You know, again, that was more free stuff that was coming from just connections and friends and stuff like that. And then also, like, one of my homeboys switched seats with me so that I would have like the corner seat where I was like neighbors with a window and like the other side of our little cubicle. And I was like, this is perfect. Nobody's like looking out for me. You know, nobody's making surprise visits to my desk. Like, I was smooth. So yeah, I mean, I definitely have that, I guess, connection with my coworkers, and they definitely support everything that I'm doing. Which I love. It feels good to have that because, you know, I've seen even like on Facebook where I've seen like little stories where it's like, your coworkers are not your friends. Well, I mean, I don't know. I think like to some degree, like they are. Am I calling them over to kick it in my backyard? Maybe not. But, you know, I definitely am looking for them to like plug what I'm doing, and like we can kind of like cross promote and stuff like that. That's something that I'm definitely doing. Like, I used one of my coworkers even in a video for Strange Roots, and it was actually a relatively edgy video because it was a situation where, you know, we present videos that align with the themes of our boxes. And, you know, the last 3 themes have been travel, homosexuality, and mental health. And so we did a little 3-part mini series that touched on all 3 parts. And he's not gay, but he definitely had to play the role of someone that was like coming out to his sister. And that was something for him that was like, what are my friends gonna think? What is my family gonna think? Like, and he was just like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. Like, this is a great cause. This is gonna help a lot of people, and hopefully people will see this, that will connect with this video, and, you know, it will give them the strength to do whatever they need to do. So I'm gonna do it. And that was through a friend at work. I honestly question if I have close enough friends that aren't at work that would have put themselves in such a vulnerable position. You know what I mean? So it's like, don't underestimate your connections at work, because they really can take you to the next level. But again, just be careful about doing work at work, because you don't ever want them to be able to use that against you. And document everything. Like, document everything. If someone does call you out about something, this is me speaking from experience. If somebody does call you out about something when it comes to doing work at work, just document everything so that nothing can be misconstrued and used against you later.
I will say that we are in no way saying don't do your work at work. We're just saying, because honestly, when you get to that point where your coworkers are supporting you and everything like that, it's because you've proven yourself in your current role and that you can handle more than what you're doing. And your coworkers, they see your vision and they feel that and they support you and they know that you get your work done. So people aren't just going to support you showing up at your job, you know, working on your stuff, researching all of that, and then you're letting other people, you know, have to pick up your slack and all of that. Like, we are not saying that at all. We're just saying balance. Make it work, make it happen. I definitely appreciate both of you all for being so open about that. And yeah, like, your coworkers, they don't have to be your best friends, but they are great to bounce ideas off of. And you never know, like, everybody's in that same place because they got a job, but everyone doesn't have the same purpose or passions. Like, we just have a common job here. And so it's always important to get to know the people that are around you and what they have going on. They could be the next resource for you designing your website or whatever. So do speak to people, do be friendly, and do have a strong work ethic that shows beyond a side hustle. It shows you in the office too, and you never know who you can inspire to balance it all and start their own thing also.
Yeah, and a lot of times your salary or your paycheck can fund your side hustle, your dreams, and eventually become your full time. So exactly what everyone just said, you know, just be leery of who you're sharing things with, know your coworkers, and get it done. So 2 more questions that I really want to get to right now. So the 2 questions I want to ask, well, this is a 2-part question. How important is marketing and branding for your business? And what advice do you have for individuals that are in the process of branding their businesses? Brittany, if you want to start us off with that.
Okay, boom. It's beyond important. People are going to connect with you because of your marketing. And especially when you have a product, people are buying the product because of how you branded yourself and branded your business, and visually how it looks, and how they can connect to it almost sometimes on an emotional level. Like, you know, telling your story matters. Having photos that are nice and crisp and HD looking is important. Having an Instagram that is aesthetically appealing is important. Having a marketing plan is extremely important, because how are people going to see your products if you don't have a plan? Like, if you're not telling a story with it. Like, it's one thing to have an amazing product. It's another to tell an amazing story about your product. And that also takes time, because you have to figure out what your brand's voice is. And that took me a minute to kind of figure out. I was kind of like all over the place in the beginning, which is okay. It is so okay in the beginning to still be kind of like trying to figure everything out, not really know 100% what you're doing. But if you're tuned in today, that shows you're taking steps to further, you know what I'm saying, understand and better yourself. If you're reading books, if you're getting a mentor, seeking a mentor, that just shows that you're serious, and that you do want to take the right steps for your business. And, you know, I mean, you have to have branding. Like there is no branding and marketing. Without branding and marketing, there's no successful business. I'll say that.
Awesome. So branding and marketing is definitely like the foundation. Definitely the foundation to like a successful business, you would say.
100%. And it's how you do it. And it's how you tell your story. So for me, again, it's all about purpose. But as you can see, because I've been able to market my business so well, I've been able to transition into the Purpose Planner Dinner Party series, where it's still centered around my products. It's still centered around my core, which is having people live out their lives with a purpose in every aspect, in business, in health, in relationships, with finances. Everything you do should serve a purpose and have a purpose. And that's the voice for Purpose Planner. And again, it took me a while to figure that out.
Got it. Love it. Thank you
so much. I'm ready for the Purpose Planner dinner in Atlanta.
That is, I mean, actually, because I mean, it's not a secret. I'm actually going to start traveling in 2018 because a lot of people have asked me to come to their city. And yeah, we are traveling in 2018. I'm super excited. Be on the lookout.
Okay. I just want to throw that out there. I'm like, you know, I'm waiting.
Yes, Atlanta is on the list for 2018.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Brittany. Quay, if you kind of tell us same thing, how important was marketing and branding to your business?
Sure. So marketing and branding was huge for Strange Roots. You know, I'm kind of like, I'm out here trying to be like Mr. All Black everything in Detroit. That's just like me. So, you know, in addition to Strange Roots, I'm also planning Detroit's first ever Metro Detroit Black Restaurant Week that comes up next month, August 21st to the 27th. And the reason I mention that is because there has kind of been a theme between the two of them. And that theme being that they're both in some way or another aimed at people of color or Black people is something too Black. And, you know, that theme has come up primarily, well, I would say there are a few different reasons, but primarily that theme has come up in the sense that, like, when you market something to someone, like I think of the story of Scion, which is now defunct. Scion, you know, was an affiliate of Toyota. And, you know, Scion's early marketing strategy was to create a car that was specifically for millennials. So it, as far as its default offerings, it came with a lot of the things that they thought millennials would like: a sunroof, a Pioneer sound system, heated seats, a leather wrapped steering wheel, stuff like that. I'm kind of into cars, don't mind me. But so it came with all these things. But where they went wrong was that they were pushing so hard for teens that like teens didn't want it. And it's kind of that same thing that when you're like, when with our product, when you push so hard to say like, and I'm Black, y'all, and I'm Black, y'all, and I'm blackity black, it's just like Black people are just like, okay, bro, like chill out, we're good, like we don't need this, you know what I mean? So that was like a big thing for our marketing, is showing that even though this box is filled with products that are manufactured by small Black businesses, that this box is for everyone. And let's just keep it all the way 100. It's not just Black people that like Black products. You know what I mean? And like I said earlier, Black products don't only encompass products that have like an African sort of vibe or origin to them. So, you know, marketing for us was huge, and it still is. Like we're still feeling our way through like our voice, because right now, you know, it's just kind of like, you know, we know who we're targeting, we know what kind of products we have, and we know how we want to be perceived, but the way in which we essentially execute that is what we're still figuring out. So, you know, I mean, it's been huge. It's an ongoing thing. I don't know if, I mean, I'm sure at some point you get to the point where you're like, I think I perfected my marketing strategy, but like, I can't say that we're at that point yet. So I'm really excited for next steps and trying out different things and how we can employ, our subscribers essentially to push this forward. Because to me, that's like the best. Like when we talk about organic marketing, like that to me is the best when, yeah, I mean, you're pushing consistent stuff out there, but you've got people that are like die-hard lovers of what you have and what you're doing, and they push it for you. And that's, I think that's the precipice upon which we're trying to conceive this. But yeah, marketing and branding are huge.
Very important.
Yeah.
Quay, actually, we'll start with you. One of the questions came in from one of the attendees, and she would like to know, how did you go about getting a mentor? Some see mentors or will see you as competition and may not have the desire to help. So is that something that you ran across? And this question is for both of you all, when deciding who to approach as a mentor. How did you approach them? Or was it one of those organic situations where it's like, all right, just know you my mentor and I'm hanging on to you and we're about to get through this together? How did that start for you? And what advice do you have for someone who's looking for a mentor?
Sure. So, what's funny is how do I phrase this? I feel like I've always been that guy where people have been asking me to be their mentor, and I've never successfully found one for myself. Like it just, I know at one point in time, this was like soon after graduating from Howard, I was like, I've got to get a mentor, like I got to get a mentor, but it just doesn't really work like that. Like when like you kind of link up, you don't really get to choose a mentor. Like you kind of make that relationship happen a little bit more organically. So I still don't have one, which I would like to have one day. So if anybody's out there that wants to mentor Kwaku, please, I'll gladly build on that relationship. But what I can say is that while I haven't been that successful at finding a mentor, what I have been successful at is building really, really great partnerships. And I think that even goes back to the conversation of like being fearful to share your product. I think a lot of people, even just at the idea stage of being like, I've got this great idea, are afraid to even express that idea to other people, not realizing that like if you share this idea, other people can help you vet it out even more. Like one person that I connect really deeply with is Eric Thomas of in the Black Suites, or Saga Marketing. Saga, like he has his company Saga, and I ran Strange Roots by him, and he was like, yo, this is way too black, but I love it. And I was just like, okay, well, it's okay. Like I still love it. Like this is what I'm trying to do. But he really, when I was in the idea phase, was like, okay, let's tweak this. When you start doing your messaging, don't say that quite like that. That might scare some people off. Like, and before I had produced anything tangible, I was able to really know that, like, okay, I have a good idea. Like, I felt like I had one, but I'm sure I have one now, but it's all about the execution. So partnering with people is what's really, really, really important. I mean, we've already partnered with so many different entities with Strange Roots. From the Native Son Awards that happened back in June to all type. Like partnering has been truly like what we're about at this point, just because we're trying to put other people on. That's like the nature of our business. So yeah, if you don't have a mentor, hey, you got to learn somehow. Why not learn by partnering with like-minded individuals? And if they're scared money don't make money. So let them be scared.
Thanks, Kwaku. I appreciate your honesty. Mentorship is one of the things that Detroit Speaks actually prides itself on. And we always, when we hear that someone's in need of a mentor or looking for resources, we always want to be there. So if any of you all watching are looking to make connections or anything like that, just let us know and we will do the research and we will find options for you. The biggest thing is not being afraid to say what you're looking for. Like I have a mentor that I didn't even know was going to be my mentor. She's 3 times my age, and she is the sassy Black woman that everybody wants to see walk in the room. And she latched on to me. She said, "You my mentee," and so I wasn't about to say no. So you never know how those kind of partnerships or those kind of relationships will form. I always say be aware, be present, because sometimes especially like if you ask God for something, you put it out in the universe that you want it, but then you miss it when it actually comes up because your judgment is clouded. So do ask for what you want and you will receive it. And even if you don't feel like you have a mentor, you probably do. There's probably somebody that you look up to, somebody that you admire, somebody that's doing the work that you're doing. And sometimes, like, I look up to Michelle Obama. I can't call her but I love the work that she's doing and I admire the way she does it. And so I just kind of watch that kind of style. And it's really about what you're looking for. And if you have like the guts to say like, hey, I want to shadow you, or I want to be around you, or I want to learn about, what you're doing in your work style. So if anybody is looking for different connections, we would love to connect you, especially if you're in Detroit. We always are looking to connect people that are looking to start different businesses, get into colleges, or whatever that dream may be. That's what we're here for. Brittany, what about you?
Sorry, my computer froze. Okay. So for me, Kweku, you should join this group, and everybody else that's an entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, you should join this group called Brand Build Launch. That is your tribe. That is your tribe of Black people who are trying to start a business, who are actually already super successful. Like, their products were on Insecure this past week when it launched. Their products were at the BET Awards, and you have other people who are trying to get there. But that's a huge tribe that you have to be a part of. Again, it's Brand Build Launch by Arsha Jones. If you're looking for partnerships, if you're looking for mentorship, if you're looking to get a business bestie, like, that's where you want to go. If you need information about something, have a question about, forming your LLC, or shipment, or packaging, like anything you can think of, that is the group for you. I'm in that group. I shout that group out to the mountaintops any chance I get, because it's been so beneficial to me in my journey. But I also have mentors. So for me, my mentor, Arian Simone, she's a celebrity publicist. She's an entrepreneur. She's a speaker. She's like amazing. And I met her 2 years ago at Megan's conference, Powerful Women's Weekend. And when I saw her, I was like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be my mentor. She didn't give me the time of day. Like, she didn't even, I think she said 2 words to me. Fast forward, my older sister had an event. She had her Posh and Popular Weekend, and it was a little bit more intimate. And I made that connection with Arian. And just from there, like, she has been a huge, huge, huge blessing. Like, your mentors will give you that tough love that you need in business. They will check you when you messing up your margins, when your marketing is not as tight as you think it is. They'll introduce you to people that can actually help take your business to the next level. And it's a two-way street. If she ever has a question about something that kind of taps into my strengths, I'm there for her. And but again, it took me 2 years for her to actually, be my mentor. In hindsight, I have my business bestie, somebody else who's super driven and goal-oriented and focused on making her business, which is my brown box, larger than life. So I have people around me to help, always keep me on track, because that's the thing with this. Like anything in life, you can get distracted. You can have some low points, like 1 month your sales is popping, the next month it's like, where everybody go? Like, that happens, and that can be real discouraging. But if you have that tribe around you to keep you on track, to help you maybe retarget or remarket, and refocus, that's so important. And so I just gave y'all three things. Get a business bestie, get a mentor, join Brand Build Launch, because that's your tribe. I think the group has grown to like maybe 20,000, but that's your tribe of people that look like you too.
Major key.
Major key alert.
Thank you, Brittany. To answer that question, if they feel like your competition, you don't want them around anyway. Word to breathe. If someone feels like they're competition, that's just not someone to align yourself.
Right.
So thank you, Quay, for your response. Is there an echo?
You are echoing. So I'm going to jump in. So what she said was, if you feel like their competition, or someone feels like your competition, chances are you don't want them to be your mentor anyway. They have levels that they haven't reached yet themselves, and so they're not ready to mentor or lead anybody. So if you feel like that person would want to be your mentor because you would be competition, go ahead and find somebody else. Step above their head and find who they're looking up to and ask them to be your mentor. I think our last question, I didn't realize that it's like 8 o'clock on the dot already, but I do want to know, like, we know budgets are tight, and starting off with your entrepreneurial endeavors, you're like, what? Everything costs. Everything from filing your LLC costs to picking out, getting your samples, that costs. So what kind of resources or suggestions do you guys have for people that are operating on tight budgets? Like Canva, for example, is a free resource for creating social media flyers or any kind of document, honestly. Do you guys have any suggestions that you guys would love to throw out, including like pitching your own business and being your own publicist or stuff, anything like that?
So I would say that's why it's so important to have the right tribe around you, the right core group of friends. I'm the creative one. So if a friend needs a logo, like, I got you. You know what I'm saying? If a friend needs a flyer, I got you, because I get it. You're starting off, you got other stuff to pay for. You're trying to have an event, you got to pay for the venue. The venue is $3,000. Girls, save every penny you can. You still got a mortgage and a car note. So I think it's really important to, pay attention to the gifts that your friends have. You may be the one that brings it out of them. I would say Canva is great. There's another one that's actually really great for graphics. It's called Studio. It's free. It's a free app. Studio, Studio. It's like a little blue icon. Y'all can't see my phone. It's a little blue icon that'll come up. And you can really get into it as far as editing with this particular app. What else is a really good resource? I would say stay inspired too. Like Pinterest is such a really good help with helping you with your marketing and your branding. You can do your vision board for your company right on Pinterest. And yeah, I would utilize, your gifts. Like sometimes I know I've done like a trade for trade. Like I needed something, didn't have the money. The other individual needed something, didn't have the money, and we were not friends. We were not even acquaintances, but we worked it out to where it was a trade for service. So I was able to design something for them. They were able to provide me with like helping me mail some items out, because that's like really big for me, like packaging things up and mailing. But yeah, so don't be afraid to ask. Closed mouths don't get fed.
Can everyone hear me now?
Sorry. Were you about to... Go ahead.
I was just seeing if y'all could hear me. Quay, you can go ahead.
Okay. Well, no, I think Brittany said something that was huge. Like that bartering aspect is huge. And like just utilize the people around you, because that's essentially what they're there for. I mean, don't use people, but like utilize them and let yourself be used as well. But like, I think So when it comes to like funding, I think it's important like get at least to the point of your MVP, you know, your most viable product, right? And it's like by that I mean, okay, you got this pie in the sky idea of a product that you're trying to create. Start small and build on that. You know what I mean? Like create like the most basic version of that product that you can think of and launch and pitch that. And that to me is what you get like this Kickstarter campaign off of. That's how you get a lot of these other crowdfunding campaigns kicked off, is by starting with minimally viable? Start with the most basic version of your product and test it out that way. That way you incur the like the least amount of cost possible or a debt in that situation. But then you also obviously are getting people's feedback from a very real standpoint of like in its most basic form, I do or don't bang with this product because of X. Because that's gonna help you. You never want to put so much effort into something only to then find out that it's crap. Like you never want to do that. So, you know, don't set yourself up to be in that position. You know, put your most basic version out there first and see if people are biting and get feedback on what people will want. And that will help you answer a lot of your own questions and it'll let you get yourself out of your own way. Yeah, I'm not one of those people that likes to piggyback too much. I think Brittany really covered a lot of some of the resources that you have. So please like take them. Like she said, like Studio is great. Canva is amazing. Stop overusing word swag. That app is great, but please stop overusing that. We can tell when it's word swag. We can't, like, we know, like, we be like, oh, that's word swag. So stop doing that. But yeah, like, so that's another, I guess, like staying up on your resources and trying to remain as current or ahead as you possibly can is important. Because especially when it comes to marketing, like, I get it. A lot of us don't have the ability to go into Photoshop and all these other Dreamweaver, whatever you're using to make these beautiful products from scratch. Like, I get it. Like, everybody doesn't have that skill set. So what's been great about that is a lot of these programs and apps have come about that kind of make that a little easier for you. Well, because of that, there are more people who don't know how to use these harder programs. So they're using the programs that you're using, such as a Canva or a Studio. So because of that, remain aware of like, okay, I still have to put a little bit more extra work into making this my own, and try a little harder than going for like basic template. Like I even, you know, when it comes to bartering, you know, the initial photo shoot for my site, I got that for free by building a site for my friend who's a photographer. You know, built it in Squarespace. You know, Squarespace is another one of those sites where it's like, oh, great, they have templates and I can just drag and drop stuff here and change things here and all that. But they also have a developer suite. So it doesn't hurt to learn a little bit of HTML and CSS to kind of like bring your code to more of a customized level. Think like that. Like, how can I put my own spin on all of this? And I think that you'll be much better.
And to piggyback off of that so sometimes you really do need to educate yourself to cut the cost. So if that means that you need to get on YouTube to learn how to do something, or you need to go to the bookstore and get some books, do it. Did nobody teach me how to use Photoshop? Did nobody teach me how to do CSS and HTML? But YouTube. YouTube taught me, because I reached out, a graphic designer told me her prices, and I was like, ooh, girl,
nope,
that's not gonna happen. And I got on YouTube. I feel like after, I would say almost like 5 months, I really felt like I was comfortable. And that was a lot of trial and error through those 5 months. I was making terrible graphics. Like, they was terrible. I didn't know what I was doing. But it's all a process. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And that's entrepreneurship. The more you learn, the more you engulf yourself into this world of craziness, because you have to have a little bit of crazy to be an entrepreneur. Be clear.
If you don't,
right. So yeah, the more you learn, the more you educate yourself, the more you'll be able to cut costs, and the more you'll be able, as far as when you start, you know, hiring employees or having other people come in and help, you'll be able to kind of fish out, like, do they really know what they're talking about, or are they just trying to run one over on me because I'm an entrepreneur, which is really important as well. So you got to stay educated.
I think that is great advice. Am I echoing now? Am I echoing? No? Okay, so before we wrap it up, I just want to quickly bring to your attention, you guys have brought up websites so many times. I have a website. I designed my website on my own on Squarespace by getting on YouTube and teaching myself how to do it. The biggest thing with the website is having nice pictures, having pictures that are not done on your iPhone. Like you pay to get the pictures taken and really bring your website to life. You have to have some great content, have somebody look over your content before you put it on your website. But what I would say is, like, both of your websites, I got the chance to stalk you guys in this process of doing this, and both of your websites to tell that you guys were working on your own or doing all of this on your own. How important is it to have a website, business cards that show nothing but professionalism? I thought I was for sure that Strange Roots had like a factory somewhere, like a warehouse space and all of this stuff. These are the things you can come up with in your mind just based on going to a nice, neat, clean website. So how important is the website to you all, and how has it boosted your business? Quaker?
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, a website can actually make or break not just a sale, but a relationship, a lot of things. I mean, let's just take it like for how you would, like when you see a product out there, right? And it's like, or actually, you know what? Even better. Let's frame this like you see potential bae out in public. And it's just like, all right, so this is about to be bae right here, but let me just like see what their social media looking like. You get to their social media, they don't have no profile icon. You go to their little pictures. Every picture is a meme or an ad or something irritating. It's all disheveled. I don't know. Their profile name is ridiculous. It's just like, no, it's the same kind of thing. Bae suddenly became bad. Like this is no longer bae. It's the same thing. You go to a website and that's your first impression a lot of times. Especially now where both Brittany and I seem to have products where even though they could be sold in a storefront, in a lot of situations they just aren't. So the first time that you see our product is by way of the website. If you get to the website and it's trash, like, so is your product. Like, honest, like that's just kind of like the connection that people draw. What I do urge people to do from the consumer standpoint, though, is if you see a product out here that you were initially really hype about and you get to that site and it's trash, just like you should when you go to a restaurant, let that person know, like, hey, I clicked on this button and it's not working. Or like, hey, like, I'm trying to get to your contact page, but it's taking me to like an error 500 or whatever. Like, let somebody know so that they can fix that. Because honestly, like, to keep it 100, now I'm jumping back into the entrepreneurial seat. Sometimes it's just a mistake that like you didn't see. And like you do not understand. Like, I had one chick email me about an apostrophe on my site. She was just like, this apostrophe just shouldn't be here. Like, I love your site so much, but this apostrophe is bothering me. Thank you to whoever you are. Thank you. Because that apostrophe was removed immediately. But had no one told me, I could have been looking like an idiot. Like, when it comes to grammar, I could have really been looking like an idiot.
Like a little bit salty. Like, you're a little bit salty about it, but you like, you know what?
Like, thank you. Thank you for doing the grammar Nazi. Thank you so much for letting me know that I'm out of line. I appreciate it. Just like when you go to these restaurants, and I only mention restaurants because of Black Restaurant Week, August 21st to the 23rd. When you go to restaurants, if the service is trash, you need to let them know before you leave. Like, don't just hop on Yelp and be like, the service was trash. That's shady. Like, that's shady. Go up to that, like, look, y'all was slow. My water was lukewarm, and so was my food. This bill is too high. Like, whatever it is, let them know so that they can be better. Because that's what you really want. At least I would hope. Like, if you really just out here throwing shade for no reason, then I mean, shade on you. Shade on you. But yeah, websites.
I mean, he kind of just said it all. Like, yeah, I'm not about to be repetitive. He said it all. Like, it's important. Like, it needs to be mobile compatible. Like, people are going to purchase probably 10 times more likely to purchase on the phone via the computer. So just make sure everything looks right and all the buttons work via the phone as well. That's so important.
I'm not going to throw shade at it, but it's so difficult to make compatible with your phone. No? Okay. So I think that one thing that you guys keep in mind going forward is that, you know, having that website be up to par. This is people's first time seeing you. This is them seeing Bay on the street. Like, your social media, all of that needs to be well kept and well groomed. Like, sometimes, like, I know people like to post memes and stuff like that and jokes and all of that, but not on your business page. Like, it doesn't belong there at all. You're trying to sell a product and you're trying to keep a certain following. So going forward,
can I answer that? Okay, my Black people, let's have a chat. You are a business owner. Nobody wants to see you twerking. Nobody wants to see you drunk. Nobody wants to see you looking disheveled. It's a highlight reel. In your highlight reel, you need to be put together on social media, period. And you don't want your business to be like this high popping motivational, I'm here for my people business. But then when they click on your personal page, it's just the most ratchetness page that they've ever come across. It doesn't mix and they won't make that connection. So make sure, you know, you represent your business at all times. Like, your business is you at all times. And watch it in public too. Like, you never know who actually knows who you are. So as much as we like to have fun and woo twerk for the culture, like, watch who you doing this around, because they could take one video and it just be like, I'm not supporting that no more. Right, deuces.
And you don't want that issue at all. You don't want one thing, one weekend, whatever, ruining your entire business and everything that you've built for yourself. It is 8:17. I have went over 18 minutes now. I just want to thank you guys, especially because when it comes to the Speak Out, we don't want it to be something that's stiff. We don't want it to be something that people leave feeling like they really still don't know what to do next, or they don't feel like they got a real account of what this is about to be like. And most importantly, for being Detroiters that are really out here doing your thing. And that is what Detroit Speaks is about. It's about highlighting people and giving them the resources. There are so many connections out here, so many great people with great spirits and great energy, but all the time you see on social media and in the media in general such negative things about the people in our city. So I just think it's so important to have both of you on here today, and just hearing about your products, and you know, everything from your social media to your websites are tight. I mean, we reached out to you guys like, we hope they say yes, and so it was great to have you both on here. Feel free to reach out to us at DetroitSpeaksOut.com if you guys have any questions for us. But we are going off air. Thank you.